Hello and welcome to another bite-size workshop on the tarot. Today we're looking at the Hanged Man. Now, the interesting thing about the Hanged Man, all the major arcana of the tarot have a connection to the classics, Greek, Roman, ancient world. Hangman is an exception insofar as the symbology of the hangman doesn't exist anywhere in the classical world. Well, I suppose there is in some Sumerian folklore the story of one of the gods hanging himself from a pine tree. And that pine tree being Mother Earth and Mother Earth giving life. But that's a very tenuous link. So what we get when we look at the hangman is an image. Let's have a look at the Rider-Waite. So here we go. We have this young man and he's suspended upside down by one leg. He has his hands behind his back, presumably tied, but his other leg is just sort of flopping behind the suspended leg. And if we look carefully, that golden glow around his head is a halo. So the halo here is a nod to saintliness, is a nod to serenity, peace. So let's take on board the number that's involved here, card number 12. So in the Arabic numbers, it's a 1 and a 2. Coming together, we have individuality and unity coming together to make another. And that's really what the hangman is about. It's going from one situation into another. You know, when we looked at how the hermit had to face fortitude or strength, deal with fears, then we have what looks like a terrible predicament, to be suspended upside down from a tree, to be hung from the tree. And yet this young man has a sense of serenity, a sense of peace, a sense of harmony. So why should that be? Well, let's have a look at another tarot card from the Sheridan deck. Now, this is more stylized and the symbology is just working with a few colors here. So the hangman, we see him as red, symbol of fire, but around his head the halo is still there, but rather than being golden, it is more akin to purple, so tapping into that sort of chakra of the spiritual. He's hung from the tree, but this time the tree doesn't quite look like a tree. It looks more like a gallows, and yet what his foot is suspended to is not a rope, but it is a branch of the tree or a vine of the tree that has wound around his ankle to suspend him there. So he's pretty much in the same position. Now, the symbology of the tarot cards is using those Roman numerals. So when we look at this, we see the cross 10, and we see the 2 1s creating the 2. So we have the 12, but still it brings us the 3. So out of 1 meeting another 1, there is a birth. So what is the birth that's going on here with the hangman? Well, this is interesting. This takes us back to why it's different to all the other major arcans which are based on the classics. There's a nod here to Odin and how the runic language came into the world. So what is the story of Odin? Between 2 moons. So starting on a new moon, going through to the full moon and waning back to another new moon. He was suspended there for those 29.5 days, almost 30 days. And he was suspended from a tree by one leg, but one arm free, another arm tied behind his back. He was hamstrung with that one arm to the other leg. And he was suspended over a rock pool. And in the rock pool, there were pebbles. So Odin would reach down with his free hand, lift out a pebble, and each pebble would have a symbol on it. And those symbols are the alphabet of the Norse people. So the Icelandic traditions, the Scandinavian traditions, and some of the Celtic traditions, using the runes as the alphabet, the symbols of the written language. Each of them would have a sound as well. So over 29 nights, he would reach his hand into the rock pool and pull out a pebble. And every night, there would be a symbol on each pebble. On that 30th night, the 29 and a half days, on that 30th night, he pulled out a pebble and it was blank. Odin, feeling angry with the gods, toying with him, having him suspended there, while he was finding a language to give to mankind, to give to humanity, cried at the gods, screamed at the gods, wanted to sort of express to the gods his displeasure at being suspended and pulling out a blank pebble. Odin's eye was taken out. It was plucked from him for his disobedience to the rest of the gods. So, after being suspended and having all the pebbles with the runic symbols on, and one of them blank, he then was set free from the tree, laid down by the rock pool, and laid out the runes. And from those runes created a language. The interesting thing is runes are all consonants. There are no vowels. So the blank became, for want of a better expression, a type of vowel. It became an any stone, a little bit like the fool can mean anything, the blank stone can mean anything. So it allowed words to join together or to make a different sound or to pull together where the sound isn't there. So this brings us to the hangman now. The hangman, like the fool, is almost anything's possible, but it's pointing out through sacrifice. So why does the hangman seem so serene while he's suspended there for that whole month, that cycle of the moon? Because he is discovering language, he's discovering how to speak, he's discovering how to communicate, he's discovering how to understand. He's overcoming everything that's difficult. And the blank pebble reminds us that anything is possible, and that's the reason for his serenity. He's been through pain, he's actually been through torture, and yet at the end of it, he has found a peace, he has found a joy. So when you get the hangman, recognize that things are going to take a little while. Anything that's worth having takes a lot of effort. Sometimes that effort is painful. And we can draw this into almost any situation in life. Learning something can take years. A relationship can start in an instant and the passion is there instantly. But to make it last and to make it full of joy and happiness takes time. Relationships with family members, the bringing up of a child, everything takes time and everything has a pain of some kind. Nothing is simple, nothing is every day isn't always about laughter and joy and happiness. So life has its challenges. So the hangman tells us that time seasons us. It makes us better equipped to cope with almost any situation. So to have a hangman in a reading tells you, yes, you may be in a limbo for a while, you may be stuck in a situation for a while, but you are going to progress and you're going to achieve and you're going to make things work beautifully well in the end. And that's the point. It also teaches us humility. It teaches us that we have a soul. It teaches us that we're connected. But it also teaches us not to be angry when we don't understand the situation. Because if we're angry in a situation, we could lose something. And in Odin's case, he lost part of his sight. So we don't want to lose sight in the situation. Calmness, tranquility, harmony is what the Hangman teaches us, as well as we can attain almost anything. Well, there you go. This has been another bite-size workshop on the tarot. We're going to be carrying on with the next tarot card in our next workshop. So I look forward to seeing you then. In the meantime, namaste. I wish you all the very best. Bye-bye.